the terrifying reason her baby woke up with scratches on its face. Odd things began happening in her home in Michigan, so this mother decided she'd figure out what was going on. It all started with strange noises she heard at night. However, it turns out she was way off. She was sure her fiance was to blame for everything, but she was wrong. She's had enough. The only thing that she could do was watch the footage. However, she was totally unprepared for what she found. She and her husband set up a baby monitor to record what was really happening in their daughter's room. This mother refused to believe that her little angel scratched herself at night. However, Joshua said that he had no idea what was going on when asked about it. This woman got ready to look at the footage. She was prepared to catch her fiancé in the act, but her skin began to crawl when she saw that it wasn't him on the tape. You see, Heather Bro and Joshua Higgins had been living at Michigan Guest House. The place was owned by his mother. They had a 1-year-old daughter called Lily, and this small family had been staying there for more than a year when something made them want to change their address ASAP. It all started when Heather took her daughter out of the crib and saw there were scratches on her face. In the beginning, Heather didn't think much about it. However, things changed when more marks started to appear on Lily's face after the first ones healed. The only thing left to do now was confront him about it. She and Josh had a great relationship and lived together. They were a young couple living in a quiet town, and their dreams were coming true, and everything seemed to be going well for Joshua and Heather. They were in a happy relationship, had a sweet little girl, and lived in a nice little home. Everything changed all of a sudden, however. Heather had been sleeping when she began to hear weird noises in the house. They sounded like the door squealing, thumps on the floor, and even footsteps in the kitchen. How strange. She decided that she had to solve the mystery when she found the strange scratches on her baby girl's face. Heather talked to her fiancé if he'd been the one who making all the racket at night. She also asked him if he went to Lily's room the night before. She wanted to know if he knew what happened to Lily's face. Was this the end of their fairy tale love story? Things started to get tense between these two. Joshua denied everything and Heather wanted to catch him in the act. She didn't know that she'd end up finding something even worse than what she had in mind. The only thing on her mind was that she needed to find a solution to the predicament. Joshua denied everything she said. Heather started to wonder if she was only going crazy and imagining it all. She thought maybe an animal found its way inside the house. However, she was confident that she always kept the windows and doors closed before heading to bed. It must have been someone or something that was in the house already. She knew that this could be the end of her relationship with her fiancé, so it was up to her to get the answers to the mystery. Finally, they bought a baby monitor to keep an eye on Lily. They made sure it was at an angle that focused on her crib. Joshua was pretty sure that their daughter was scratching herself in her sleep and said that babies graze their faces with their nails all the time. They proved this theory wrong since it still kept happening, even though Heather made sure to trim Lily's nails after the very first incident. Strange. It goes without saying Heather wasn't ready for the truth. Since she was desperate to get to the bottom of things, she set it all up. The couple purchased a Logitech Circle 2, a state-of-the-art baby monitor that came with night vision. They hoped it would help them solve this mystery. And sure enough, they found more scratches on their daughter's face when the morning rolled in. They checked the footage to figure out what happened. However, Heather realized that her house wasn't what she thought it was after she watched the video. They saw the blurry figure of a man in her bedroom. Heather thought that her theory was right. Joshua must have been walking around the house at night while she was sleeping. However, why did he lie and keep it a secret? Was it a joke? Maybe he'd been sleepwalking. She continued watching the footage to get to the bottom of things, but the next thing that happened shook her to her core. The shadow walked past the crib. Lily must have been aware that there was someone in the room since she sat upright. What did the baby do next? Lily then held the side of the crib, pulled herself into a standing position and looked around. The man then turned towards the monitor. That was the moment that Heather figured out that the man was not who she thought it was. Heather couldn't breathe for a moment. Her heart started to pound loudly when she realized this person was a complete stranger. She was unable to tear her eyes off the screen as she watched the intruder some more. The stranger continued to roam around the room. Heather's stomach was in knots. At this point, she only wanted to know who this man was. You wonder if she felt relieved to figure out the source of the strange noises she heard at night, as well as the scratches on her daughter's face. She replayed the clip several times. At one point, the person became entirely transparent when he moved by the little girl, and that was the moment when it hit her at last. Heather couldn't have been looking at a man or a human. Heather got goosebumps and pulled Lily closer. She had to talk to Joshua about it. More importantly, they had to get out of there. He watched the video and said, "It was chilling. It was literally a chill down your spine, like that what-if factor. Is this what I just saw?" Heather explained, seeing Lily's face with the scratches was so bizarre and frightening. Heather also said, "I was crying, what happened to you? I grabbed her jacket and ran over to my mother-in-law's house. Nobody knew what happened. We wondered if she scratched herself, but when we put our hands up to the scratches, it didn't match up." After they watched the footage, Joshua was also terrified. He could feel a ball of terror inside of him. The man of the family was scared out of his wits and knew that they had to move out right away. He immediately went outside with his wife and daughter, and they got in touch with police. He was told to get in touch with the Scientific Paranormal Investigations of Michigan. What he learned from them made him feel even more fearful. Mike Priest, the co-owner of Scientific Paranormal Investigations of Michigan, deployed a team to check out the house. However, the discovery only made Heather and Joshua feel more determined to get out of there. When they checked out the evidence, they reached the conclusion that not only was the main house haunted, but so is the guest house connected to it. There were more strange things that happened there too. During an interview, Heather said, "I woke up to get ready for work one morning and it felt like someone was choking me. It shook me to the point where I decided to buy her camera." Heather knew her husband wouldn't believe her, so she didn't tell him about it right away. She shared, "There have been times where me and my fiance would wake up in the morning and would hear an angry male voice like someone had stubbed their toe. I definitely believe there's something going on at this house," confirmed Mike Priest after his investigation. "We're looking forward to checking out this one as well." According to him, he and the team recorded weird sounds in the house. They visited the house at the behest of the family. "We heard something say, 'Oh, here we go, oh yeah.' I heard it plain as day," recalled Mike. He brought his team to the house and they're set to return soon. They want to do a proper paranormal investigation of the property. Mike said that the goal was to see if they could find a way to replicate the footage or at least arrive at a rational explanation. They could only chalk it up to the supernatural after failing to do these things. He only wants to figure out what the camera recorded in the room. Chris, Joshua's mom, has been the owner of the house for 11 years. It was possible that she had some idea of what was haunting them. "I was told when we bought the houses 11 years ago, the lady who owned the property died in the main house," she explained. "It's an old farmhouse and according to her niece, she fell down the stairs, broke her hips, and laid there for a very long time before she passed away. She said the guest house was built for the lady's brother who is schizophrenic," she recounted. Jim, Joshua's dad, had another theory in mind. He's convinced that the man terrorizing his son and daughter-in-law is an old tenant of the guest house. This was what he told WXYZ-TV Detroit. "The gentleman that lived here originally jumped out this window, which is one story down." Even though Heather and Joshua aren't closer to figuring out who it is, they at least know what to do about the situation. "It scares us that it could do something else," Heather said. She also added, "It's not physically just going after her, it feels like it's going after myself too. This has made us want to leave as soon as possible. As soon as possible, we're out of here. This is a spirit. I don't know what its intentions are, but at this point it's becoming physically harmful." The video, which the couple published on social media, went viral and creeped out a lot of internet users, but there were also skeptics. Some folks don't want to think that the video showed an apparition. If you ask this group of people, there's a simple and rational explanation for what the couple caught on tape. Kenny Biddle of the Skeptical Inquirer gave his 2 cents and said, "There's something else I noticed right away. The ghost was casting a shadow, too actually. This tells me the figure's a solid physical object able to reflect light. In the first milliseconds of the video, as the figure's moving to the left, you can see its shadow move across the ceiling right by the ceiling fan." I'd surmise either Heather or Joshua had been watching television and had reason to get up out of bed, perhaps go down to the kitchen for a drink or food or a visit to the bathroom, paused the video and walked across the room not realizing they were being recorded. At a later unspecified time, they reviewed the footage and due to a lack of understanding of video cameras, concluded the distorting figure was a ghost, he said. But where did the scratches on Lily's face come from? Aside from the technical issue, it's not uncommon for babies to scratch themselves. We know from her statements that Heather discovered the scratches after waking the baby up from a nap. He expounded, but there's nothing to rule out the possibility Lily scratched herself while sleeping. After digging deeper into this story, Kenny found an interesting piece of information. I'm not sure exactly what the motivation behind these claims is, but I do have my suspicions, he shared. I went to Heather Bro's Facebook page earlier today and noticed she posted her first public post since November 2018. It was a link to a GoFundMe account she created that day, March 26, 2019, with a goal of $5,000. She was asking for this amount to help her move out of the guest house, citing her daughter's safety from all the paranormal activity as the main reason, he said. After this, Kenny reached out to Heather through Facebook. Hello, my name is Kenny Biddle, and I've been investigating paranormal claims for the last 20-plus years. Your video of what is believed to be a ghost walking in your house was brought to my attention by several paranormal groups, the message read. After taking a look at it, I was wondering if there was a longer clip, perhaps footage showing the few minutes leading up to and including the clip that was shared on ABC Action News. The clip that's been shared starts with a figure already in motion. I was hoping to see where it originates. He ended the message by saying, "I noticed the TV was on, so being able to confirm it wasn't someone living watching TV and perhaps got up to get something would be beneficial. I'm not saying this was a hoax, I'm just trying to get as much information as possible to understand what the video is showing. I appreciate your time in reading this, I hope to hear back from you. Have a good day." Kenny has said that Heather is yet to respond to his inquiry.